Flory Models daily vlog. Here we are on Monday the 26th of October 2015, and to be honest, I've spent no time in here whatsoever. I've not been in the studio today, been sorting out everything else. Obviously we're getting everything ready for Scale Model World at Telford on the 8th and 9th this year of November. Obviously it's only 2 weeks away, so really we've got to crack on with everything. We're trying to obviously get our stock in place, all the various bits and pieces like that, so we've been sorting that out today and getting all your orders out and everything else over the weekend. So I've done a bit of editing. I cracked on with the editing for this particular one with the Starfighter, and to be honest, so you've got part 6 is up on the site with you right now, which again talks about the metal finish. We do some tonal variations, we mask over this. It is perfect, flawless, no marks, no tearing, no lifting, peeling or anything whatsoever. It worked flawlessly. And then obviously we talk about weathering it up by changing colours, panels, stuff like that. I did come in here with the stainless steel right over this, didn't really like it too much, wasn't the effect I was after, so we sort of overcoated it again. And that is the great thing about these metallics. It's the AK stuff we're using on this particular build, and it worked absolute treat. So it overcovers it itself, or overcoats itself really, really well. It doesn't affect your finish at all or anything else like that. So anyway, part 6 is up. That's going to talk more about it. Talks all about obviously the need for detacking the tape, and actually you don't need to. So by the end of it I was just sticking it down neat, but certainly early days I was being a bit fragile with it and detacking it on your arm before you actually put it onto your model and everything else like that. But hopefully, as you can see, we are really looking the part. Okay, so it's actually coming together really very nicely now. No problems with this one at all, and to be honest, half an hour on this and it'll be finished and done, and then I can crack straight onto the Helix and get going with the Terminator as well. So obviously from my point of view, coming to the end. But something I want to talk about today, and that is, when do you take advice? When is a good point to point something out when it's got a fault that to your eye is blindingly obvious? Now, Martin contacted me on Friday, I do believe, after he saw the vlog and pointed out quite correctly, I might add, that I painted this wrong. By which we mean this front section here, I'd actually done white right up to the nose, because this nose is a separate fit, and I'd done right up to here and in white. Okay, so he pointed out to me that actually it's silver on the first half. So we all did that thing of really, so we went flying back to the old instructions, and he is quite right, it is silver right up to the front here. So I had done it all the way to the back, because I did it as whatever the entire nose was and then fitted it onto it like that. So it was one of those things, and from my point of view it was dead simple. I just masked this up, sprayed it. So for this point of view we just used aluminium, because I thought, oh, we'll give it a tonal change. Alright, so we put the aluminium in just like that, and then obviously a new coat of weathering wash over the top just to do all the panel line and everything obviously we'd lost during the spraying process. No real biggie. But my point to this is that when do you tell people there's a problem? Because we all a bit worried about being a rivet counter, and especially, as you know, on my site here at Flory Models, I don't have time for rivet counters. If you want to be a rivet counter, go off and do it somewhere else. I really don't care. If it looks like it, it sings like it sounds like it, it's what it is. Okay, if it's scale inch out and all the rest of it, then obviously I'm not that worried about it. Okay, from my point of view though, if it's a blindingly obvious thing that's an easy fix, then it is a good point to to make it, and so to say to somebody if they can fix it easy, so it's just catching them at that correct time as well, because there would have been no point telling me after I'd done the final reveal photos and all the rest of it, because technically I'd have to go back and re-edit the entire thing and fix the problem. So luckily for him, he caught me right at the right time, because obviously it's an easy fix and a good way of doing it. And that's the thing is, I think really the constructive criticism on the site, that if you want to give it to other members and stuff like that, needs to be done in 2 ways. First of all, you need to catch them at a point where they can still fix it. There's no point telling them after it's completely done, because all you're going to do is really ruin their day, because in their mind they think it's great. Okay, so who am I to say it's wrong? All right, at that point. Also, is it an easy fix? Okay, so from my point of view, okay, I had decals and markings in there, but I've got spares and things like that, so it's a case of it wasn't a problem, and we could just actually change them over and put them all down and everything else like that. A couple of bits of masking tape, bit of silver paint, and I'm good to go, and it's as if it's never happened now. And from a point of view, apart from me telling them all on camera when you see part 7 that I've had to change it, no one's going to be none the wiser with it. But if you're going to tell somebody that one of the parts which is like deep down inside a paint coat or something else like that, or it's completely the wrong color, there's no point really telling them once it's done. Okay, there's no point telling somebody that, you know, your gear is on back to front when the final reveal photos are up. You really want to catch them beforehand, okay? And then you can say to them, you might want to know that your actual gear is wrong. Now, I know, and I won't mention her name, but made a blinding, obviously, mistake on a Typhoon a long time ago where her wheels, instead of being on the inside, were on the outside. Were on the inside side of the outside and things like that in a modern Typhoon. Sorry, Jen. Yes, it's you. Okay. And I remember saying at the time, gears on the wrong way, sweets, you might want to pop them around the other way, you know, and all the rest of it. Because it's an easy fix. You know, you can just pull them out, put them around the other side or onto the other hub. No one's going to be none the wiser, and it's a very, very straightforward fix with it. And I know other people. I know a guy once who put on, I've got to remember what it was now, but it's a particular weapon fit that it couldn't have carried in those particular pylons because he had fuel tanks on outer pylons and they don't actually fit out there because obviously weight issues and stress and G. So it's like you might want to shift them to the inside because it can be caught quite early. And also he hasn't got the final photos up and you catch them in time before they make a blindingly obvious mistake. Also, how you tell that person. Okay, so you don't want to be saying, you do realise you got that totally wrong. You're going to look, all right, twat, you know, and all the rest of it. You want to say, look, just for your information, you might just want to change over and put it nicely. There's no point telling someone your model's crap because it's wrong, because quite frankly, I wouldn't listen to you either. You're a twat, sod off, you know? But if you tell me, look, you might want to know, like I did here, the white nose section, it doesn't go all the way to the front. It's quite a common mistake. A lot of people make it, as Martin did to me. And then I could catch it. Dead simple, came in here, I didn't feel narc that somebody had pulled me up on it or anything else like that. It's like, thank God he has, so I don't look a total idiot later on, because to be honest, I didn't twig it, I didn't spot it at all. So it is that way of putting it over. So really you want to catch people as they're doing the build, so it can be changed. So if you do notice somebody's using the wrong colour, they've got something on back to front. Hell, you know, let's face it, it's not just model makers who do it. I know things in movies and they've got things around the wrong way. Gun sights are a classic example. I've seen a film recently and they had the gun sight on back to front. Blazingly obvious to me, but obviously not to most people. But, you know, it's little things like that that, you know, should have been caught, but it wasn't and gone through. So it's the same thing. It's just that thing about finding when is appropriate time to tell people, when is it an appropriate time, and how you put it to them, okay? So don't just say it's wrong, just simply say you might want to, just it'll be a quick change and help them as well. So just don't say it's wrong, say to them, look, a couple of bits of masking down there, you can blow that in, nobody will be none the wiser, and you'll be good to go, you know? And it's catching it at that point. If you can do it, I think everybody would be, oh, thanks, yeah, thank you very much, you caught it, didn't see it, didn't spot it, like me with this one. And I am probably the worst one for it. I know there's faults with all of my models. I am not here saying I'm a perfectionist and all the rest of it, because I'm not. As you all know, I do this because I enjoy the hobby. I enjoy actually the process of model making. You know, I enjoy everything that goes on with it. I enjoy the sort of, you know, the weathering, the artistic bit to it and all the rest of it. And I call it artistic license because nobody can tell you technically it's the wrong color or it's the wrong, you know, weathering on it, because in my world it's not. It's fine. It's how I wanted it to be. So from that point, you know, really the point of this message is just when you see people make errors, point it out nicely to them. It's not rivet counting if you're telling somebody that they've got a mistake and you're putting it the right way. It's rivet counting when you turn around to them and say, oh, lovely model, but it's completely wrong. They would have never had that. And you did realise you didn't shim 1/8 of an inch off of its arse to make it with the correct length. And you didn't take, you know, the adhedral off the wing and all the rest of it. No one cares about that, really. Unless you are a master modeler who's making an exact replica, which I defy everybody in the model making world to do anyway, because it's almost impossible because of the medium we work in and everything else like that. But certainly from our point of view, it's just that way of helping each other, helping people to develop, you know, the skills, obviously the actual, you know, the interest to keep going and things like that. And by the interest to keep going, I mean it's that thing when you have told someone technically they've made a mistake, it's so they don't feel like, well, crap it, bin it. You know, they want to think, oh, right, okay, so yeah, he did say if I just mask this up and repaint this in like I did on the front end here or on other models I've done, that, you know, it can be done. My Red Arrow's Hawk, everyone takes the mick because I put the tail colours in the wrong thing. Nobody really knows it unless you're a complete, you know, but it is wrong. I know it's wrong, everyone else, but I'm not going to go back and repaint the entire back end of it after it's too late, because technically the video's done, the video's out there and everything else. I'd have to completely re-edit the back end of it. So it's easier to leave it in. So in some ways, telling me that the tail of the Red Arrow's Hawk is wrong bit late once I finished it. You know, tell me during it and then do it. And I know that's difficult for me because obviously I'm pushing along, and like this one has been done 2 weeks before you guys have got to it. So it's very difficult to point it out. But if you can spot things in the forum and you see people making a mistake, tell them. But do it in a very constructive way. Constructive criticism, nobody has a problem with. It's the bit of rivet counting I don't stand for, and everybody really doesn't like it, you know, and things like that. So that's about it. That's my rant for the day, for Monday rant, seeing as it's a quiet day. I just thought I'd mention it. But as I said, nobody's perfect. We all make little mistakes and everything else like that. But certainly it's being the way of being told nicely about it. And it's the thing about, you know, doing it in an unpressured, nice way, and giving them a way of fixing it as well. Just don't tell them it's wrong. Tell them how they can fix it. Because obviously you've done it as well, because you've spotted it. That's my point to it. So, you know, you can say a little bit of masking down there, you can just blow it in silver, nobody none the wiser. Just tell them it, make it nice and everything else. They can edit the post, nobody will be none the wiser. Okay, but you don't really want to go in there saying, you should have done that completely wrong. Don't want to hear that. You want to hear about how to put it right. So if they have done it the wrong colour, tell them the correct colour. You know, if they have got it at the wrong angle, tell them how it should be. Do a reference photo for them so that person can see how it should be and everything else like that. And that way, everywhere would be a lot happier place, especially on the internet. Not so much our site. I must admit, we don't suffer from this, but I know it happens all over the internet and on Facebook and all things like that, because everyone's just bitching at each other and stuff like that. So there we go. Rant over for today. Hopefully, our Sydney will be here for tomorrow's question and answer. He's coming up tomorrow afternoon to have a little bit of a chat and a chin wag and everything else. So I'll try and get him on for camera with me. So until tomorrow, everybody, happy modelling. Take care.